Hi, it's Arlie. I'm going to do a quick flip through of this sketchbook that I made, and I just finished, and I'm out of breath because I just chased the dogs out of the room. I made this with using the double needle Coptic stitch method. It's pretty much a pad of Fabriano, or most of a pad of Fabriano hot press watercolor paper, and then the cover is the background piece, I think, or it was some cardboard I had lying around. But anyway, each of these bundles is called a signature. The reason that the Coptic stitch method is really nice for sketchbooks is because it lays flat on every page. So this is a color swatch gouache that I did for a trip. These are my favorite, not exactly these colors, but these are the kinds of colors I like to bring: a cold and warm blue, a cold and warm red, and a cold and warm yellow. And then I add in other colors, either favorite colors or, whatever I think I might need at the time. This is gouache, and now I just bring white gouache with everything, but when I was working with gouache, I would bring white gouache. This is gouache with colored pencil on top, which is really nice. Gouache dries chalky sort of and flat. It's really satisfying to draw on top of. This is colored pencil, and I think I was trying to do, I looked at my phone or photo sideways to see if I could draw it sideways. It doesn't look like me. It looks like a person, but it doesn't look like me. Same here. I was drawing in the mirror in a dark room. I caught this is markers, I think, like watercolor pencils or something. I caught the mood, but I wasn't accurate, which is a struggle I'm always having. So these aren't in order. First I did all the right-hand pages, and then I went back and kind of randomly filled all the left-hand pages. So like this was done November of 2021, but this was done last week on 2023, June 2023. And this is, I just had some paint left over in the pan, watercolor, and I just need to get more comfortable with a brush. So I was just playing. I used to do this with a ballpoint pen when I was a teenager, and just doodle lines. And I wanted to see if I could doodle lines with a brush. So I recommend this. It's a good kind of meditation, and it's fun to play with colors. And I could have kept going and crisscrossed across, but the point isn't how it looks, but it's more like just an exercise. This rainy beach in maybe Michigan. No, I don't know. Lake Erie, somewhere over there. This is gouache, little boats, gouache and white pen, and it looks like black pen. A little lake in Japan. What I was working on here was trying to figure out how to show the cherry blossoms, because when they were in front of each other, the ones that were closer to me were lighter, but then when they were against the sky, they were darker. So that's something to work on, for me to work on. And another thing that I'm working on lately is water, how to represent water. I like this area. I'm not going to do this with every painting, but I think the more recent ones are the ones that I'm probably more interested in. This was a photo that we took out of the windshield when we were driving in. This is Lake Erie in the background, and this is Barcelona Lighthouse. This is a limited palette painting. This I just painted recently. This is a photo from Japan. And again, I'm working on water and trying to figure out how I do trees. So, like one way is to show the sky through the branches. Another one is to paint to imply the branches on top. Another one is to, do the trunk and do and then, so just trying to figure out what I like to do. This is Cleveland. It's from that same trip. Remember, all the photos on the right are all sort of consecutive. So Gouache is nice because you can go in and correct light on top of dark. This is a watercolor with, looks like a little bit of black pen. And Japanese trees, not every tree in Japan, of course, but this is in the historic district in Kyoto. But the trees were very manicured, and I was trying to sort of catch that sort of leveled, layered look that they have. They're just, it feels like every single branch and leaf is deliberate. This was a failure. I was trying to do a memory. I drove and I thought, I'm going to try to remember this and do it at home, and it doesn't look anything like it. So I ended up just playing. This is recent. It's funny, it ended up fall colors, even though it was just recent. It was in May, and it was actually very spring colors, but apparently I went orange on this. This is another just a brush practice. Highly recommended. Just get a couple colors and, look on Pinterest and just see what your paint can do and what your brush can do and how much water you need and what it's like to overlap and stuff like that. This was from a photo, and I was trying to use the colors that were in my palette, and actually there was no blue, leftover colors in the pan, and there was no blue leftover in the pan. So there actually was a big blue sky right here, and I thought it was really interesting to try to paint this picture that had blue sky without blue. And then here's one. This is watercolor. What is this? I think this is gouache. I don't know, does it really matter? This is recent and I like it, which is rare. This is from a photo that I took in Japan, and I was trying to develop some ideas that I have. One of them is to think of an area in an abstract way as one color going to another color, one color going to another color, or, like these people are, like the way it is in real life. Things that are farther away are more faded and cooler in color. And or I know that, but it's hard for me to do it. Like, I know all these people over here are also wearing black uniforms, and it was really hard for me to depict them as sort of light gray and not black, because my logical brain was saying they're wearing black, you should be painting them wearing black. And then the up close people I actually did in blue, and that actually makes them feel much closer than if I had done them in black. So I'm really working. I have things I'm working on. I really thought that my sketchbooks would be more like this, just like, studies and stuff. And so I imagined I was going to do this throughout my book, and I never really did. This is a recent one that I like. I learned a new technique, a new way to break down how to do watercolors, and that's first you do wet on wet to create atmosphere, and then you let that dry. Then you do kind of a connected shape, and that's where you drop in the different colors, and that's wet on dry. And then the next one is where you go in and add detail and much thicker and richer paint, and that's sometimes dry on dry, or almost dry on dry, almost kind of dry brush. So it's kind of 3 parts, but for me it's 4, because the last thing that I do is I add black and white. This is gouache, and it was from a really old photo, and the photo had faded. And when I went back in and added this sort of burnt orange pencil, I feel like it did give it that old photo look. This one I just did last night, or yesterday. It's a little dark here. But this is watercolor, if you can believe it. And this is another one where I did the one wet on wet background, wet on dry to create kind of blobs of, like, you think of a shape and then you drop in the color, then you let that dry, and then you go in with your detail. And then I went in with a little bit more white, little dots of white. This was right when the Ukrainian war started, and I went to Google Street View and chose a house to draw. So I would always remember. March 1st, 2022. This one, when did I do this? Today. I'm still trying all the things that I've just talked about. Treating an area as going from one color to another. So this one has a yellowy color and it's trying to go back to blue, although I didn't do it that well. Same thing here, just trying to go from one color to another. And then this also, I did if you look on Instagram, you'll see I did shots of it as I painted each stage where I was waiting for it to, sorry, I bumped the camera, where I was waiting for it to dry. I took a photo. So first I did it outlines with a pencil, then I did wet on wet, then I did wet on dry, then I did not really dry on dry, but saturated on dry, and then I added a little bit of white. So a little bit of white is there. And I think I added a little more white in the clouds. It was too watery. It doesn't really show. This, I'm not crazy about. I was trying to do a color version of a black and white photo. A lot of times these ones are like leftover paint, and I just can't stand to throw away paint. So I'm just like, I'm just going to try something. This was like the back of a pencil or something. This is from a photo. I'm always intrigued by how watercolor artists paint white flowers. This is also from a photo. And let me explain. This is a black sweater that I still have, even though this is an old photo from like 1995. And this is the sun shining on my shoulder. And then the background was really cluttered because it was a photo of myself in my office, and there's just a bunch of junk in the background. So I simplified it. I'm not very good at abstraction, but I think I did okay here. That's gouache. This is a pretty recent one. This is gouache of a barn photo I took. This is one from my imagination. I'm remembering the side of our house right here, and the lights from the house shine out and make the closer trees a little bit lit up. So I forget what kind of trees these are, what I thought they were. It's a Ben Folds song, do it anyway. And then these are stamps that I drew for Cocoa Daisy, and I stamped them out and just painted them in, leftover paint in the pan. It's my grandmother from a photo. She actually had her mouth open in the photo, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make it happen. It's so funny. This is from a photo. It's my son in Tokyo. This is from a photo, flowers. I think I've repainted this photo a few times. This time I think I was trying to do a limited palette. I mean, I did do a limited palette, gouache. I don't know what was going on. I think I just thought I'd practice lettering. So weird page that doesn't really match anything else in here. This is from Google Street View in Poland, and toward the back of the book, I tried this one again, and I painted it upside down. Brush practice, probably leftover paint. This is from a photo, a trip to Santa Fe, and I really liked the way the pink clouds looked like this pink building. From a photo of my grandmother standing in front of a gigantic rose bush. Another, this is gouache, New Mexico. Santa Fe, sorry. This is from a black and white photo, and I imagined it colored. So this was a sketch of a building I saw in Santa Fe, and then I did a larger one, and then I got really excited and I did a big one. So this one really did work the way sketchbooks are supposed to work. This is from a photo. That's a photo of my son. New favorite sketch style, contour line drawing with marker, then messy fill-in with gouache and watercolor. So it must have been leftover paint in the pan, which is, it turns out to be my third favorite media. I also have this idea that it would be great to draw or paint what I'm wearing or how I'm feeling or what I'm doing, and I keep thinking, what a great way to fill a notebook. And then I get started on it and then I don't complete it. This is from a website called photosforartists.co.uk, and I just found the boat, and I think this is watercolor with white gouache. Then this is that barn. If you remember earlier, I did some studies on it. I drive past this all the time on Harmony, near Ziegler Road in Fort Collins. It's an old barn that's boarded up. This is from an Abercrombie and Fitch ad, and I thought how interesting to try to paint or draw sheer fabric. So I think I did pretty well. It does look sheer. This is from a very old photo, and it's of a sentimental place, and I think I really captured the way it felt. Here's another. Dare I say it's not very good, but I wasn't really concerned about the face. I was just trying to figure out how to do the fabric. A peony from my yard. I've repainted this a number of times. This, I was inside a coffee shop looking out the window and chatting with a friend and just drawing and painting. This is a copy of P-E-G-R-I-G-O, Pegrigo. I don't know what her name is, how her name is pronounced, but I had a no inspiration day, no mojo, and so I found her watercolor and I painted it in gouache. I asked her permission first, and when I posted it, I tagged her. This is another stamp thing. These were some new paints I got, and I stamped this hand-carved bunny that I made in December. I do hand-carved stamps in December with Julie Fayfan-Balzer, and I mean, she does a challenge, and I join the challenge, so I do a stamp a day. So I think I had just done this bunny, and I had just gotten some new paints, so I painted the bunnies. These are geraniums that were, it's from a photo, but these are my geraniums. Gouache. I showed this to my son, and he immediately recognized. This isn't, I use upside down laundry hampers as little tables for plants. And then this is another little sketchy page. Trying to keep, I think I was going to do 100 tiny sketches a day, and I did very many, but I didn't do 100. 100 days of little sketches. So I thought I would start in, in the middle, at the end of February and go to the end of May. Well, May just ended, and I did do art every day, but I didn't do a little thing every day. I was kind of hoping, but I guess I'm not very good at doing challenges. And then this, why does this have a cover on it? I don't know why this has a cover on it. It's gouache. It's from a photo. Maybe it's because this, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, has a cover on it. This is from a photo, learning how to do trees. This is from a photo, just composition, just a color composition, kind of abstract. This is another, just a doodle. I think you need to doodle so that you can know, like, oh, I like doing, black on top of orange, or I don't know, whatever you learn. And I did do purple, red, orange, green. I kind of did a rainbow thing, so if you look at it, you can kind of see the colors, the rainbow. This is a view from, let's see, this is a view from standing on my driveway. This is one of my favorites, actually, from this book. Gouache. I accomplished a lot of what I want to accomplish in this one. This is, the page here has a lot of like crayon and stuff on it, and it kept sticking to this page. This page was all gunky. I actually did this just now. This is one of the ones to finish the book well, I thought I'd just fill it. So what I did was I just took the colors that I had nearby and I made these creatures, and they're based on something I saw yesterday, and I will insert it here. Just super cute little paint sample creatures. I thought, what a fun way to fill up a page in a goofy way. It turns out I made a lot of mine dogs. This is one of my, oops, bumped the camera. I love this lady. And this guy ended up looking like SpongeBob. And this might be a hippo. So this was an emotional. I wrote how I felt about something, and then I just went to town and added everything I could think of on top of it. On top of it. This was just a swatch page. So this is the upside down. I actually painted this upside down. So, and I've already done a flip through of this. Okay, it's gonna take me a second. I already did a flip through of this book when I finished the right-hand side, so you can see that there. But so this one I painted right side up, and this one I painted upside down. And I feel like it's more natural and accurate. So it was just an exercise. So that's the end of the book. Oh, this is the last page. I wrote the date of the first piece, and then this is today's date. This is my name covered up with a Post-it note. And then I took these, this is just today. I hand held these and just painted them. I have a whole box of of toys, and just painted them. So here's the lion. And I don't know what's the deal with this tiger. She's very pretty. So I didn't paint her lipstick. And then this one, crouching. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching my video and listening to my crackly voice. And I'll see you around.